a shared coding environment.
Okay. I should type in my name, right?
Yeah, so join as candidate.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. All right. So let's set you in. Cool. So this problem is called Org Feature Manager. So
Org is organization. Okay.
Yeah, or in some cases this is also called like a configuration manager. So basically, in a setup like ours, or pretty much when you're building like SaaS software for multiple companies, you often end up with a need to manipulate a particular aspect of a product for a specific company. So let's say you have some kind of a button which is normally blue, but then this one company asks, oh, can I have the red button? Or let's say you're suggesting relevant results to the user, and normally it is 3 results, but then one company wants to have 1 result, another company wants to have 10 results. And basically we want to build a software module that is going to allow to specify this like these customizations per company and effectively manage them. So as far as like examples of these kind of features for particular companies, so that could be something like button color. So this would be a feature name, and potential values would be something like AA, which is like a hex string, or FFF123, whatever color this is. It can also be something like number of results, and potential values would be like 1, 3, 10. So this is an integer, or we can have a more complicated one like document for a company. So this would be containing something like a document type, and let's say this is Confluence pages, a flag like private false, for example, or another one could be doc type web page, and some other flag type URL. So yeah, and this is like a list with more elements. So basically to show that the type of this or feature can be like rather complicated. So we want to build 2 methods. So one will be called setWork feature, and you're going to take the identifier for organization. You're going to take the feature name and feature value. And then the second method would be getWork feature. So pretty much the same, but without the feature value, and you want to return the feature value as a result. So yeah, as an engineer, you can imagine that you're running the flow which is returning results to the user, and you're going to call getOrg feature, with org ID that you're generating these results for, and then use that value somewhere in your code. So effectively, we're writing this module, and this is like a semi-practical coding. So if you want to make up a particular API that you need to use, like for example for accessing database, just feel free to make up a function. Like no need to use something from a particular framework or whatever. So yeah, talk to me like how would you implement these, and if you have if you need more information, definitely ask. Actually, maybe one more piece of information. So let's aim for up to 10K companies and up to 1,000 features per company. So yeah, you have 10,000 different orgs, and 1,000 features like button color, number of results, and so on.
Okay. So there's a database where we have to input, like, which consists of fields like pattern color, organization feature, results. What is this number of results thing? I didn't get it. Like 1, 3, 10. Can you?
Oh, that, I mean, an example of a particular feature. So yeah, so these are just examples so that you understand what we're dealing with. So these are feature names, and these are feature values.
Like feature.
So could be
a number of results. Just a feature, right? Number of results of the feature name. Or a document is a feature's name, and the dictionary and the list is the value.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so maybe like as where to start, then you mentioned like database at one point. So I mean, we can start with discussing like where this would be stored and what's the like storage.
Yeah, I never used like NoSQL database, so that's why I guess. Okay. But I guess MongoDB would suit here better. We don't have this complicated queries at all. Like every time, let's say there's a name of an organization feature manager table, or whatever it is. There is only there should be some link between feature name and the result. Key is a name, key value should be like, instead of list, it could be like in a MongoDB, it could be like document and like and this thing, this kind of value.
What about the org ID?
Org ID.
Yeah, because basically, like company, let's say you have Google, Facebook, and Apple. So Google has these documents, Facebook has another documents, Apple has yet another documents. So where that goes?
I don't know. Maybe we could add here something like ID and the ID of a company. I mean, it would work better. Like it would work okay with the relational database. I would create some class in the Django. This is what I would do.
Well, I mean, with relational, like I like the idea of going with NoSQL and like something like Mongo, because if it was a relational database, how would you manage stuff like this, where you have like a list of dictionaries which also have like a different structure?
No, like inside in the query, you would be able to do this kind of query, but they would be saved like as a separate row, every time. The doc type, private, they would be separate, different columns. I would say, not rows. Like doc type is a different column, private is different column. It's like
right, but I mean, if you don't know like an exact schema, how do you know like all the rows in advance?
If you don't know the exact schema, okay. Maybe you can create dynamic tables, like when you create like when a column doesn't have a name, but you give it a name, like it's a bit complicated. I don't know. I will have to.
I mean, you can end up with like a lot of rows, so that's why I kind of.
Yeah, lots of rows.
Yeah. Yeah, for these things, yeah. I mean, I think the likes of Mongo are pretty neater. I mean, for relational, you can also save them as like basically dump it into JSON and save it as string and then unpack it.
You'll have to parse it later again, like, yeah.
Yeah, again, so that's not like ideal. Okay, so maybe for Mongo, like if you're doing one table, so we have our ID or org ID, whatever you call it, and then I mean here you specified it as like a mapping from feature name to feature value, but
there could be some kind of you know, like, okay, it should be like unique together thing. If I don't know MongoDB really, I'm thinking like logically maybe there could be something unique together, you know, ID and document type, they should be unique kind of.
Yeah, but have you worked with like other, I don't know, maybe key value databases for NoSQL?
No, never used it.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I mean,
you won't see in my C.
Like,
what? Okay.
Yeah, like rather simple design where you have feature name specified and then feature value. So this way it's like slightly easier to manipulate that than if you only have it this way, because then effectively your lookup would consist of ID and a particular feature name. So this would be, you know, button color and feature value would be something like that. So consider it pretty similar to like a relational DB table where you have ID, feature name, and feature value. So effectively like three columns, but here it's like this is one document that you have.
All right.
So okay, let's manipulate it this way. So let's write like a simple version of like set and get, and then we'll move over to the next aspect. And yeah, feel free to make up your API to how to write and read from this database. It's like records.
Oh, API. Can't we just call this function for now? Like instead of like you want me to? Like I only use like Django. That's why like this is what I would be able to do only. Like.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I'll have to create the path for it. I'll have to create view sets for it. I'll have to create.
Gotcha. Yeah. Let's not worry about like exposing it via REST API or whatever yet. So these are just like two isolated functions. You as developer can just import them into your module.
And this is okay. Yeah.
So in here for now you just want to like write to DB.
Organization name. How do I emulate like database connection in MongoDB? Is it like can I treat the database like a dictionary or?
Yeah, up to you. So
okay, let's call it.
Exactly, yeah, it doesn't matter here. So yeah, you can do DB and then like DB name dot type. So just name dot type dot read. And that's fine.
It can be. I guess we can return something, but kind of okay.
want to if you want to make it more, object-like, up to you. So you can make, I don't know, like a class and then do .save or whatever. Try to, if you're familiar with Django or ORM, try to do it this way then. So assume you have a table with 3 columns: ID, feature name, and feature value. And for feature value, you can dump anything.
Class feature. It was integer field. I'm trying to remember out of my top of my memory.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I know. Oh, cool. No, false. There should be something like that. Or it could be we could import UUID library, and could be like this.
Well, in this case, your org ID is actually given to you, because let's say organizations are managed, separately, and
oh, really?
When you're writing something, it already exists.
Yeah, IDC. Okay. So it's not dynamically. Okay, it's passed out as along. Yeah. Okay. Like usually it's dynamic.
Your ID is more like a.
Then it should be just regular.
Identifier for organization.
Feature name equals char fields max. Okay.
Yeah, for feature value, assume it's any type, so that exists any field or whatever.
Any type. I don't know. There isn't any.
Yeah, but you need the. Okay, let's keep it as that then.
Okay, let's assume we have any field. We don't have it though.
Okay, so then file would set and get book.
Usually I would call just super method. This is what I would do, or I would add extra fields to a class, to an object. But here, okay, how do we do the same thing? Feature. Oops. Son of a dingo.
Okay, makes sense. And kept.
Okay, the same feature manager. something. Or we can call some serializer or something like and wrap it around the feature manager if we want to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we only need the value. Yeah. So get or feature returns the value.
Okay.
So yeah, you just get the feature value if it exists. If not, yeah, I don't know, throw exception or return none.
Or yeah, there is another get or none or something like that. Get or none, and it sends you a flag or something, or like true false if.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but we only return the feature value, not the entire company.
We have to send return what get or yeah, got it. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, just I think you named that ID, not org ID.
Org ID. Feature. Just the ID, just an ID.
We named the ID.
Yeah, I see.
Okay, now kind of quick hypothetical question. So let's say we have 10K companies, 1K features, but there are a couple of features that are like very frequently used, while like the other ones are like modified relatively infrequently. What can we do to speed up the retrieval of those like most frequently used ones in the get function?
We can create, like we can have another database specifically for them, maybe if they are that important, or we can have separate.
Still a database though. What about?
I mean, if the results are the same, you can cache it in Python.
Okay.
You can have cached like functions.
Have you? Cool. So, are you familiar with any caching frameworks?
Yeah, not frameworks, but in Django I used to use it. Some like you can add some cache decorator. That's the function will send the same thing. Like it'll be speedier. That's how I used it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it does Django offer one out of the box? Or?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay, nice. Cool. All right. Now, next question is. So for now, if you actually want to get a result for a particular company, like org ID feature name combo, you first have to set it. And like, let's say you add a new company, so there is a new org now, with org ID we haven't met before.
Okay.
There isn't like a single record for them in the database. And so if you call a get org feature for number of results for them, you're going to get none. I mean, that's why there exists this kind of like notion of defaults. So how would you, I guess, design and manage defaults in this solution? So basically for each feature, we also want to have a default value. And then if it doesn't exist, in a database or I mean, you always populate it in the database so that for a new org, we get the default values for features.
Okay, like features should have some default value, right? You can do something like this, and like assign to default value, whatever it is. I don't know.
Well, that's for setter, but I mean, let's say our database right now looks like, for org ID 1, you have set all the org features.
Okay.
But now you're calling the org feature for org ID 11, with feature name, number of results.
But we don't have this org ID in the database, right?
Well, we have, I mean, if it helps, like, let's assume there is another class, like organization, where we manage org IDs. So this is where you get the org ID from. So like a new org was created, but it doesn't have any single feature set yet.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay. Um, So yeah, we can have like it will be too basic, but kind of we can have two different like queries where initially we check if we have both of it, like this one. If not, we're gonna jump into like else or something. Like when.
Okay, so basically we try to get it. If it is none, we return the default.
Yep.
Where do we keep track of these defaults? Because I mean, you have to manage like those values somewhere as well.
Yeah, to save them in the database will be useless because you have the same default for everything. Like it can be inside a function or a configuration somewhere. You can import it from somewhere, like some like .env file.
You pretty much have two choices. I mean, either also have a separate DB table with defaults, or in the code.
I won't suggest it in the code because it's kind of, it's not a functionality. You better have some configuration or some environment file. Maybe they are dynamic. But also saving it in a database, it's kind of. I don't believe you have that.
Configuration. Yeah. I mean, configuration makes sense. So, I mean, let's assume we have like a file with defaults, and then like have another option to like read a particular, I don't know, like default values from that config file.
Okay.
Okay, but all right. I mean, you mentioned, I guess, that if not flagged, you're going to get the defaults. One more question about like developers using these functions. So, I mean, for now we don't expose them, via like API and so on. So you as a developer, let's say you're writing the code that generates the results, and then you'll write code like this currently. So number of results is get org feature, for some org, and you're going to pass the feature name, which is number of results. And you as a developer later will use it. So okay, something like this. So this is some other function. This is how a developer is going to use these two methods you've currently provided. Now the question is, can we do something better for managing feature names? So currently we just pass strings, and why having that in the code is not optimal.
Or we can use partial tools if we have the same number of results again and again. Like it's a kind of default, func tools like partial something. If you don't want to pass it again and again, all we'll have to do is like pass org ID. You know what I mean? This is what you asked, or it's like kind of redundant. You mean like if we have like same default value?
More like not for default values. More like it's a suboptimal kind of way to specify a feature name. So I mean, once it would be this, another time it would be button color, and yeah, basically there are a few problems with this. Because let's say you as a developer type number of results accidentally, and
you can have enums maybe for them. Enums maybe.
Yeah, I like that idea. So let's introduce enums to manage feature names.
Yeah, I don't remember how enum is. Like, is it?
Yeah, feel free to Google. That's okay.
Is it class enum? And then it's like IT auto. Not sure really, maybe, but it should be something like that. All right, I should be right here. Auto and feature value. Auto.
Wait, enum for like all three?
What? Oh no, we had to have only, what is that? No, we don't need this. What we were looking for, the feature name, right? Yeah, feature name.
Yeah, feature name.
Where is It's feature value, feature name. Yeah.
Okay, and then I guess like how would so let's say we
feature.
let's say we
Okay, enum feature.
Documents.
No,
so
you
let's
should.
make I guess like 3 instances for those.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Can you please repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So like let's make 3 I guess enum instances for button color, number of results, and documents, or just button color and number of results. To basically just see how it would be in the code.
Or we could have created like feature name instead of feature. Like we could call enum as a feature name is the enum. Like, you know, I was trying to tell something. Name enum.
Yeah.
Button.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? Yeah, it's kind of. Then what else we have? Button. What are others?
Yeah, number of colors. Mm-hmm.
Documents, color.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Column. Colors. What was that? Whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's what I mean. Wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of more meaningful, like when you're like feature name dot button is the auto completed. You don't have to have like string.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, we'll be able to use that here. For feature name. Cool. Yeah, in Python you can also do this where if you want me to custom.
Yeah, both of it, right? Okay. Yeah. Then
cool.
you need
a
union. Yeah.
One more question, kind of going back to the kind of caching thing. So let's say you wanted to keep a small cache of like most frequently used org ID feature name combos, so that you can do fast retrieval here. What would be the kind of logic or algorithm for how do you remove the values from that cache? Because I mean, you cannot get everything, because I mean it would be too much. So you have to keep like, let's say, 100 most popular items. What would be the algorithm to?
Yeah, I mean, they would be kind of. Maybe I would have some cron job for it, you know.
So what does I guess like cron job compute or remove?
Like I'll have a dictionary of with the which will count. You know, in Python we have this from collections we import this counter thing, and if our like key value pair is a dictionary, we're gonna do like let's see, processed dict equals counter, like, or the cache dict, which shall count all the caches and how many times they are used. Like this the cache will track down every time, like how many times we use the same key. So the least used will be deleted, will be removed from the dictionary.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's one way to implement it. Cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this question. Maybe 7 more minutes if you have questions about I don't know, like engineering here or anything you want.
Actually, I expected something like some programming thing, but it's kind of like more brainstorming.
Yeah, that will be tomorrow. So we usually, I mean, we normally ask kind of like 3 different interview problems. So one is like coding question, another one is this, and one more is like a pure system design question where it's like, I don't know, design, how would you build something like, I don't know, Facebook feed. And we talk about, okay, I'll use DB, whatever, and so on. And yeah, but considering here we only have 2 hours of interviews, we do this question, and then tomorrow you'll do like pure coding questions.
I was improvising, as you can see. I knew nothing about it. I was like improvising. I was using something I had in the past, like empirical knowledge.
We don't expect people to know like this, specific DB. It's like as long as we work, like with databases in general, know about caching. So,
and this is, it kind of was cool. Like previous time, I was about to fail. Like 15 minutes, I was like watching the error, like mistake I had. Like prior to this interview, we had something. We had kind of testing interview. Like, I had to solve some hackerrank task. Like looking, I couldn't find it, and lately, like a few minutes before the call ended, I got it. And somehow I got this call. Well, where are you located? How does it feel like to work for this company? Is it completely remote, or you kind of have some team buildings or go to the office sometimes? Like how does it feel? Like I care more about how it feels to work in a company more than the technical aspects and stuff. Like like for me everything is learnable because it's my hobby, programming. But sometimes when in my current company, sometimes when I ask a question, they treat me like I'm a, come on, like, are you an idiot? Why don't you know that? Like, it's kind of, it's not fun.
Yeah, normally I'm based in East Coast in the US. Most of the team is in West Coast of the US, but now we actually have like few folks in Europe already. Like for example, the guy who created Fast API, he's based in Berlin, and the new guy from Genius is, I think, in Warsaw.
I'm in Poland too. Right?
So yeah, I pretty much say we're like, for the most part, we're like flexible remote, but honestly, like on my team, for example, 4 of us are in 3 different cities, so I would say it's more like a remote, at least for now. So yeah, I'd say people are pretty helpful on Slack. So like if you run into an issue, you just post an engineering, usually there will be somebody around to help you. Yeah, as far as I don't know, maybe improving development processes, it's like 2 approvals per pull request. Tooling wise, I say it's also like, okay, so you use Sentry for Python, Kibana for logs, and so on. So I'd say it's like more mature environment than maybe in the very early days. Usually we have kind of meet up maybe once every half a year. So we had one this March where it's like a hack week. So usually, engineering meets up, and then you get basically to build any like kind of feature or a new product that you can find, I guess, like useful for the company, and then demo it. So basically, like for 3 days you work on whatever you want, and that's also like, I guess, one opportunity to meet other engineers face to face. So that's like more or less it. I'd say we have like more or less diverse environment in a way. So like, like for example, I'm from Ukraine originally. We have quite a few folks from Lebanon. Some folks from other Asian countries. So honestly, like quite international, community, at least in engineering.
I see. Well, cool. Great. I don't have another question.
My question?
No.
Cool. Well, good luck on the interview tomorrow, you said?
Okay, thanks. You too. Good luck on anything. I don't know what you're having right now. Maybe you have an interview too with someone. Cool.
All right.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.
Bye.